All right, thanks a lot for coming out, everybody. This is a true, genuine pleasure. Please give a warm, awesome welcome to one, the only, Ramblin' Jack Elliott.
Thank you. Thank you. What's all the... Well, anyway. Yeah. Boy, oh boy. I thought I had it timed with the traffic, but I was wrong again. We came in here yesterday at 5:15. I thought, oh, we'll get a clear shot in one of the side streets. Wrong. I got the blues from a baby limit by the San Francisco Bay. Ocean liner, she gone so far away. I'm looking for the wire in the fire. Hey, thank you very much. Where was I? Got the blues from a baby lemon by the San Francisco Bay. Ocean liner, she gone so far away. Didn't mean to treat her so bad. The best gal I ever have had. She said goodbye, like to make me cry. I wanna lay down and die. Haven't got a nickel, I ain't got a lousy dime. She don't come back, I think I'm gonna lose my mind. She ever come back to stay, spend another brand new day, walking with my baby down by the San Francisco Bay. Live a while in another city, just about to go insane. Sounded like I heard my baby the way she used to call my name. Ever come back to stay, spend another brand new day, walking with my baby. Talking with my baby. Riding, gliding, driving, jiving, talking with my baby down by the San Francisco Bay. Don Burkholz, ladies and gentlemen. That's for you, Don. Wow, what a time, what a beach, what a dog. I always like to say that at a time like this because I was thinking about when Thoreau first said those inimitable words one day down by Walden Pond. He was down there in Massachusetts there with his dog Sam, a Labrador non-retriever, you know the type. Threw the stick out there in the water. Sam smiled, swam out there in the middle of the pond, bit the stick, smiled, turned right around, swam back, shook all that water all over Thoreau's starboard pant leg, but he forgot the stick. And it was then that he must have said those words. I'm sure he said it. He never wrote it down, though. I've searched through all his writings. He never wrote it down. And I thought it was one of the hippest things a man ever said. What a time, what a beach, what a dog. It's very zen. Well, you know, think about it. Little things like that make the world go round. Back then, things were slower. As I went down to the railroad yards to watch the trains roll by, I knew a train would roll that day, but I did not know what time. Good morning, Mr. Railroad Man. What time does the train roll by? 9:16, 2:44, 25 minutes till 5. 9:16, 2:44, 25 minutes till 5. Thank you, Mr. Railroad Man. I want to watch your train roll by. Thank you. Water break. What a break. What a break. I must have breathed on the way over here. I was standing on a platform, smoking a big cigar, waiting for the next freight train, carry an empty car. Rode her down to Danville town, got stuck on a Danville Girl. You could bet your life she was out of sight. She wore that Danville curl. She wore her hat on the back of her head, like high-tone people do. But the very next train come down that track, I bid that girl adieu. I pulled my cap down over my eyes and went a-walking down the track. Got on to some old boxcar and I never did go back. Hey, 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 Ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. Hey, hey. Sorry. Thank you very much, Jim. Thank you very much. Blessings. Cheers. And to all, a Merry Christmas. If I don't get to be here with you, my Texas tour usually is all too brief. I get to come down here for about a week or two, once a year. One time I missed it for 7 years. Got my foot stuck in California. Got stuck in the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault runs right in front of my house. I was out jogging one morning, and I just got my foot stuck in the fault. It wasn't my fault. It's California's fault. I don't know who that guy San Andreas was anyway. I'm sure he's a good man, though. Speaking of California, there's an old song that I learned from a friend of mine on a trip down through North Carolina in 1953. It's not a sad song. I'm not crying about this song. It's just I'm crying about the Irish whiskey. Anyway, the song is called The South Coast. It was written by a woman named Lillian Boss Ross. She was a writer. She lived in San Francisco. She lived in that area of North Beach, which later turned into a big kind of a free life and kind of a hippie part of town, more or less centered around Carol Doda's topless restaurant. And Lillian needed a quiet place to write. She moved down to Big Sur, which is kind of a hellacious place to live. It's very beautiful there when the sun comes out, but it only comes out about 4 days a year. It's very foggy, and it rains in the wintertime. The coastal highway is 1,000 feet above sea level, but when it rains, some of the highway gets down to about 10 feet above sea level. It just washes right down the mountain, and it takes them 6 months to repair the road, and it's a very heavily touristed road. In the summertime, they fix it. It takes them 6 months to fix it. They get a lot of traffic through there. There's a couple of restaurants and a few motels and beautiful scenery when it's not too foggy. Usually it is too foggy. She wrote a book about a rancher that lived there in the early days, and it was made into a movie. It was called The Stranger in Big Sur. It takes place way back in around 1830, 1840. I think it was before the gold rush. And he refers to those lords across the sea, because California was then part of Mexico, and they were under a Spanish king. And if you wanted to marry a girl, you had to get written permission from the King of Spain. So hence the reference to unkind mention about the king overseas and all that. The South Coast. I learned it from Frank Hamilton, who sang it in a thunderstorm one night on a front porch of a farmhouse where we were visiting down on the coast of North Carolina. That's a whole nother song. South Coast. My name is Lonjano de Castro. My father was a Spanish grandee. But I won my wife in a card game. To hell with those lords or the sea. Well, the South Coast is a wild coast and lonely. You might win in a game at Cologne. But a lion still rules the barranca. And a man there is always alone. In my youth, I had a Monterey homestead. Fields, creeks, mountains, all mine. And I built me a snug little shanty. And I roofed it and floored it with pine. I had a bronco, a buckskin. Like a bird, he flew over the trail. When I'd ride out 40 miles every Friday for some grub and to pick up my mail, I sat in the card game at Colon. I played there with an hombre named Juan. And after I'd won all his money, I staked all against his daughter, Dawn. Dawn, I picked up the ace. I had won her. My heart, which was down at my feet, jumped up to my throat in a hurry. Like a young summer's day, she was sweet. He opened the door to the kitchen and called the girl in with a curse, saying, "Take her. God damn you, you want her. She's yours now, for better or worse." Her arms had to tighten around me as we rode up the hills from the south. Not a word did I get from her that day, nor a kiss from her pretty red mouth. We soon reached the valley at twilight. Stars twinkled out over the coast. She soon loved the valley and the orchard, but I knew that she loved me the most. That was a glad, happy winter. We carved on a cradle of pine by the fire in that neat little shanty. And I sang with that gay wife of mine. But the South Coast is a wild coast and lonely. You might win in a game at Cologne. But a lion still rules the barranca, and a man there is always alone. That night I got hurt in a landslide. Crushed hip and twice broken bone. She saddled her pony like lightning and rode off for a doctor at Honon. The lion screamed in the barranca. Bucky bolted and fell on the slide. My young wife lay dead in the moonlight. My heart died that night with my bride. The cabin still stands on the hillside. The door open to the rain. And me, well, you know, I can never go back there again. The South Coast is a wild coast and lonely. You might win at a game at Cologne. But a lion still rules the barranca, and a man there a man there is always alone. South Coast Ballad by Lillian Boss Ross. That song been a lot of miles. I remember there was a group called the Easy Riders. That was back when they had all these folk groups, you know, like the Kingston Trio, the Golden Gate Quartet, the Village Ramblers, the Rambling Villagers, the Village Idiots, and they all had cute names. Easy Riders did a record of it. In fact, the Kingston Trio did an attempted record of it one time. And I met Lillian Boss Ross. I went up there and visited her. Her house was about 1,000 feet above the highway. That made it 2,000 feet above the ocean. And you could only see the ocean on a clear sunny day. It was about 4 days a year. But boy, it was nice when you could see it. And her next door neighbor was a fellow named Henry Miller that wrote books. And I said, well, how come all these people over there knocking on your neighbor's door? Shanna Golden. She went by the nickname of Shanna Golden. Shanna Golden Ross, and her husband was Harry Dick Ross. He worked down at Nepenthe, serving beer and hamburgers. she said, well, that guy writes books and he's got a lot of fans and they come up here and they knock on his door wanting an autograph. I thought, oh, interesting. That was in 1954. I'd never been to Europe and never heard of Henry Miller. Had to go to Paris to get one of them books. They were banned. Couldn't buy them in the U.S. Something wrong with his glass. It's empty. I think there's room for just one more up here on the table. Lovely. I won't take a lot of your time. We're going to do a brief first set and we'll do a longer second set. Ah, thank you. Boy, that was fast. Hey, it's got ice in it. I think I'll do something of it. Thank you, Michael Malone. This is the gentleman that made this hat. He makes a lot of hats. He'll make you a hat if he lets you. I just happen to be lucky enough to be on his right side one day, and he made me a hat, and I just love it. I wore this hat in Australia. I thought that would get it broke in, you know, the dry climate. But I was in the wrong part of Australia. I was in eastern Australia most of the time, and it's coastal climate, and it didn't dry out. But I got it on a horse, and I got it in the dust, and I got it in the grass, and I got it in some cow manure and everything, and it still looks brand new, doggone it. Looks like it just came off the shelf, but it's been there. And I rode some horses on it last week and got dust and manure all over it, and it just doesn't, it still looks brand new. I may have to take it out and shoot some holes in it. My, oh my. Michael, do you have anything you'd like to hear or that I could play for you? No. Oh, yeah. Play on. Okay, just you want me to just free confibulate here? 1913 Massacre. Oh, I'm not asking for requests. I just wanted to sing a song for Michael. You like that 1913 Massacre, huh? Well, that's pretty grim for this early in the evening. All right, okay. Would you like to hear something really serious? 1913 Massacre. I don't recommend this for children. I will, but if I can remember how it goes. Woody Guthrie wrote this song about something that took place in 1913 in a little place in Calumet, Michigan, where the coal miners were on strike, and the company didn't like that, and so they were having a Christmas party, it being Christmas time, and so the mine owners sent some company thugs over there to bust it up, and here's the way it goes. Take a trip with me in 1913. To Calumet, Michigan, and the copper country. Take you to a place called Italian Hall, and the miners are having their big Christmas ball. Take you in a door and up a high stairs. Singing and dancing is heard everywhere. Let you shake hands with the people you see and watch the kids dance round the big Christmas tree. There's talking and laughing and songs in the air. The spirit of Christmas is there everywhere. Before You know that you're friends with us all, and you dance, sing around and around in the hall. You ask about work and you ask about pay. They'll tell you they make less than $1 a day, working their copper claims, risking their lives, so it's fun to spend Christmas with children and wives. The little girl sits down by the Christmas tree lights to play the piano. She gotta keep quiet to hear all this fun. You would not realize that the copper boss thug men are milling outside. The copper boss thugs stuck their heads in the door. One of them yelled and he screamed, "There's a fire." Lady, she hollered, "There's no such a thing. Keep on with your party. There's no such a thing. A few people rushed and there's only a few. It's just the thugs and the scabs fooling you." Man grabbed his daughter and he carried her down, but the thugs held the door and he could not get out. And then others followed, 100 or more, but most everybody remained on the floor. The gun thugs, they laughed at their murderous joke, and the children were smothered on the stairs by the door. Such a terrible sight I never did see. We carried our children back up to their tree. The scabs outside still laughed at their spree. And the children that died, there was 73. The piano played a slow funeral tune. The town was lit up by a cold Christmas moon. The parents, they cried and the miners, they moaned. See what your greed for money has done. "1913 Massacre" by Wood-Eye Guthrie-Eye. Woody's granddaughter's here tonight. Kathy. Love you, Kathy. Sure glad to have you here. And Kathy's sister might be, I don't know, did she performed here some time ago? Sarah Lee. I remember when Sarah Lee was younger and she signed my motorhome guest book. She wrote, "Sarah Lee, I make cakes." She was about 6 at the time. I thought that was a good joke. You're welcome. What you gonna do? I was thinking that the sound was real good. Hmm? Thank you. Jim Ryder, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna bring Jim. Jim is my faithful friend and adopted son by a former girlfriend. Some of you may remember Barbara Dodge when she used to give poetry sessions and harangue me from the back and traveled with me. And we met young Jim some time back. It's been about 30 years ago, huh, Jim? At a Pete Seeger Hudson River Sloop Festival. Jim was playing his guitar and harmonica on the train going up to the festival, and Barbara was coming up from New York, and I met them at the train station, and she introduced me to Jim. He'd been singing on the train and telling everybody about the festival and stuff. I'm driving a truck. I don't like to go near airports. The air bothers me. And people and electronics and beepers and announcements and stuff like that kind of gets in my ears. I get a ringing in my ears, you know, and the electronics. And I got a metal hip that sets things off from 12 miles away. Would you mind taking your pants off? Got to take my cowboy boots off 2 or 3 times in a row. I don't mind doing it. The cops are very nice. I don't mind that. But the waiting and all that stuff, that's more fun to just drive a truck. I've got a Ford pickup. Came here from California. Our first gig was up in Minnesota. We played up in northern Minnesota, not far from Bob Dylan's hometown. Hey, not in Hibbing. We couldn't get a gig in Hibbing. There's nothing there. There's an old iron mine there. I think they're not even mining iron anymore there. It's just a big hole in the ground. Here's a song Daryl Adams used to sing to me. Daryl Adams was from Oregon. I met him in California when Woody took me out there in a Buick with Billy Fair. You know Billy? Wow, it's great. I don't see Billy much anymore, although I think he lives somewhere in West Texas. He called me up a while ago. Great banjo player. Well, the cuckoo is a pretty bird, and she warbles as she flies, but she never says cuckoo till the 5th day of July. Willie, and I'm afraid of your ways. Your mind is to rambling and to lead me astray. Gambled in England, and I've gambled in Spain. And if I ever gamble, I will win you next game. I'll build me a cabin on the mountain so high, so I can see Willie as she goes passing by. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty bird. She warbles as she flies, but she never says cuckoo till the 5th day of July. She never says cuckoo till the 5th day. July. Daryl Adams was a great banjo player and a wonderful singer. I met him in Topanga Canyon. I was there all summer before I finally met him. I heard stories about him all through the summer. I was playing in a little theater that was run by Will Gear, Woody's old friend. And I kept hearing these stories about old Daryl Adams. He lives in a cave, plays the banjo. What do you know? Finally, one night toward the end of summer, I spotted him. No, I didn't have to have a description or introduction or nothing. I just knew that was him. He didn't look like anybody else. He just looked like Daryl Adams ought to look. Kind of a wispy little red Chinese beard hanging from his chin. Great big eyes, big dark green eyes, kind of looked like Van Heflin, standing there tall and skinny. And I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, you're Daryl Adams." And he said, "Yup." I said, "Well, did you got your banjo with you?" "Nope." "Well, Bess Hawes has a banjo. Would you be willing to play on her banjo?" "Don't see why not." And I could tell right away from how our conversation was going that we were going to be friends for life. And so it happened. But I didn't get to see him the last few years because he talked me into marrying this girl. She was good. First time I ever got married. And Daryl sang at the wedding. Played that song called Rake Ramblin Boy, an old Carter family song. I'll play it for you. And then later on, after we got married, June and I, we decided June was an actress in Hollywood, and there wasn't much happening in Hollywood, although James Dean was just about to make a big splash. But nobody knew who he was, and he was free to ride around on his motorcycle or drive that white car around. Nobody knew who he was. The movie wasn't out yet, the first one, called East of Eden. So, I serenaded him twice in the parking lot of Googie's restaurant there. And then we went to Europe, June and I, because there wasn't nothing happening at that time, 1955. And then a few weeks after we arrived in London, I saw the headlines, "Screen actor dies." They never tell you who it was because they want you to buy the newspaper. They're pretty good about that. Anyway, screen actor, it gave me a chill. I knew who it was. So Bess loaned Daryl the banjo, and I said, well, what do you know? Do you know the Mule Skinner Blues? He said, yup. I said, well, let's play the Mule Skinner Blues. And I can play it in the key of E? Yeah. Don't see why not. Daryl, he wasn't fancy with the language, you know, he didn't talk much. He'd been a cowboy up in Oregon and a logger, worked as a choker setter and a windfall bucker. Windball fucker? Windfall bucker. And he was, you know, working in the woods up there, and then he went to Reed College for a while and studied painting and got interested in Japanese calligraphy and stuff like that, and started smoking dope. And of course they kicked him out of Oregon, and he went to L.A., got a job driving a truck for Max Factor, and then he drove that truck for about a year, and then I met him at Topanga, and we started playing together. And then June and I went to Europe, and after about a year in Europe, I got tired of playing by myself and missing Daryl, so we sent him a ticket to come on over to London and meet us over there and bring a banjo. But he didn't have a banjo when he came. He'd lost the banjo, or somebody stole it, I don't know. And you know, I've always loved boats and ships, and I don't get seasick, and I like sailing and stuff. And Daryl was in the Navy during World War II. Toward the end, he was in the destroyer, and destroyers pitch a lot, and they roll a lot. They're kind of I don't want to call a sea-kindly vessel, but you know, they bounce around a lot. And Daryl was seasick a lot and didn't like the officers in the ship. Didn't get along much, you know, having been a logger and a cowboy. He wasn't good about taking orders from people that he didn't have a lot of respect for. And so he started getting a little bit mad, and so he says, if you don't get me off this ship pretty quick, he says, I'm going overboard one of these nights, and I'm going to take 2 or 3 officers with me. So they got him off of there, and they put him through a psychological discharge through a conveniently located mental hospital in San Francisco. And he spent the next year wrecking bars in Oregon and sort of mellowing out. And then he went to L.A., and then I met him. That was kind of like a high point in my life right then. And this is the song that he sang at our wedding, Rake Ramblin Boy. I am a rake, but a rambling boy. There's many cities I did enjoy. Now I've married me a pretty little wife, and I love her dearer than I love my life. She was pretty, both neat and gay. She caused me to rob the broad highway. I robbed it, yes, I do declare. I made myself 10,000 there. My mother says she's all alone. My sister says she has no home. My wife, she left with a sad despair, with an aching heart and a baby fair. Now when I die, don't bury me at all. Just place me away in alcohol. My 44 put by my feet. Tell everyone that I'm just asleep. I am a rake, but a rambling boy. Oh, there's many a city stealing that I did enjoy. And now I've married me a pretty little wife. I love her dearer than I love my life. Rake Ramblin Boy song. Thank you. Here's another like sweet love song that was written by a guy that I met I met him in New York City. He was a pretty scary fellow when I first saw him. I walked on the other side of the street from him. He seemed like he was pretty dangerous. I didn't want any trouble from him. He had a wild look in his eye. Tim Hardin. He sang like he sang sort of like Ray Charles. He was from Oregon, and later when we finally got over our initial fright and started making friends over at Lenny Bruce's house over a Harley that I was admiring in the carport. And Tim just happened to be there. He was just happened to be leaving Lenny's house, and I was just arriving. And I was looking at the bike and remembering what a weird guy he seemed to me, you know, like in the first couple of meetings in New York there, you know, back in New York City. But I was looking at this Harley and talking about the bike and stuff, and he said he liked Carter family music. I said, "Is that right?" And other things. He said, "Yeah, Jack," he says, "I come from Eugene, Oregon, home of Christensen Brothers Rodeo Company." I thought, yeah? I couldn't picture it, but yeah, that kind of, I relate to that. Wow. And so we started getting to be more on the same wavelength. And then they were having a Newport Folk Festival soon after that. And there was an airplane strike, and they were having trouble getting tickets for people to come from the West Coast to get over to the East Coast for the Newport Folk Festival. And Peter Yarrow of Paul and Mary fame came out personally just to get me and Tim on the airplane and flew back with us to Newport for the Folk Festival, and that's where we started to kind of get to know one another and play a little music. And so I started playing and jamming with Tim Hardin and learning some of his songs. And I think I'm running over time here, but I'd like to play you a little shot of Tim Hardin's song by way of taking a break here. Okay. If I were a carpenter, you were a lady. Would you marry me anyway? Would you have my baby? If a tinker were my trade, would you still find me carrying the pots I made? Follow close behind me. Save your love for loneliness. Won't you save my love for sorrow? I've given you my onlyness. Please give me your tomorrow. If I were a miller at a mill wheel grinding, would you miss your colored blouse and your soft shoes shining? Save your love for loneliness. Won't you save my love for sorrow? I've given you my onlyness. Please give me your tomorrow. And if I were much poorer than you seem to see me, could you ever be sure of that I could really be me? If I were a carpenter and you were a lady, would you marry me anyway? Would you carry my baby? Tim Harden. It's take a little break. Let's pick it over. Maybe have a little glass or something. I gotta go sharpen my pick. It's good to see you. I hope we can come back, maybe think of some more songs, and maybe have a guest or two come up. Good to see you. I'm gonna unplug. Oh, Michael, you want to hear another song or something? What do you want to hear? A rusty, busty, jig and sandy bob tying knots in the devil's tail? I don't want to scare these people. Friend of the devil. I used to be friends with the devil. I could try that one. I haven't really performed this song since the author of this song died after hearing me sing it. I think I've got 2 broken glasses up here. Anyway, just kidding. This guy that wrote this song was, at the age of 12, wrote a letter to Teddy Roosevelt asking him to please take me with you to Cuba. He wanted to go down there with the Rough Riders, which were being mostly recruited from around his hometown, Prescott, Arizona. But he was 12 years old and he couldn't take 12 years old. He was willing to go and ready to go. And later, he was punching cattle and started a little ranch with another guy, buddy of his. His daddy had a grocery store in Prescott, a man by the name of James I. Gardner. And so his initials was J.I.G. So they called the kid Buster Jig, meaning son of Jig, J.I.G. And so I never could figure that out, and I learned the song off a record sung by Cisco Houston, a great folk singer, and the traveling compadre of Woody Guthrie, and my forerunner. And Cisco, along with many other folk singers, had somehow learned the song wrong, got the wrong words in there. And I got word from my friend Utah Phillips. Not me, Todd Phillips, Utah Phillips. And Phillips called me up one day and says, Jack, you got to learn that song right. You got to go down to Arizona and find Gale I. Gardner. For that was his name. Buster Jig was his nickname. Gale I. Gardner, the son of James I. Gardner. You got to find old Gale I. Gardner and sing him the song with all the right words, because, you know, he's pissed off about all you folk singers going around singing the song wrong. And so I thought, okay, I'll do that. And so I got in my motor home, and I took my trusty dog, Denali, with me, who was a husky dog, but he was a little too young to drive yet. He hadn't learned how to drive a motor home. Huskies are natural drivers. I had a husky that used to drive my Volvo. I didn't teach him. He just learned from watching me. Caesar. More about Caesar. This is Denali, named after the great mountain, the biggest mountain in the world, from top to bottom, measured 20,320 feet. And it starts at sea level. It can be viewed about 2 days a year from Anchorage, 150 miles south, but when it's foggy, you can't see it. 20,320 feet, and it starts at sea level, so it's actually bigger than Mount Everest. And I've been up partway in an airplane. Never on skis or got out and peed on it, got back in. And I said, how far can I walk? And I didn't want to like pee on the runway. And he said, don't go beyond the wing checks. That was the width of the landing strip on that glacier, the Hilton Glacier. We were only at the 10,000 foot level, and that plane was a three-bladed propeller, 300 horsepower Cessna 185, no, 185, and it could not make it anywhere near the top of that amount. But they used it to take mountain climbers 6 at a time with their pack and drop them off on the Hilton Glacier, and they would walk up a few hundred yards and camp out in a little wooden house there. In the morning, put skis on and go rest away, and take 3 weeks to get up the top of the mountain, another 3 weeks to get back down to the cabin. And his radio, he'd go up and pick them up and take them back, or back, dead or alive. So, old Gail Gardner, how did we get to Alaska? It's Guy Clark's fault. Guy was with me in Alaska the last time I went up there. Something always happens when I'm with Guy Clark. Thank you very much. And I'm going to try me everything. And I was singing the song to Denali, and I'm getting the words all right. And it goes something like this. I may not be able to sing it, I might have to just recite it as a poem. It is way up high in the Siree Peaks where the yeller pines grow tall. Buster Jig and Sandy Bob had a roe deer camp last fall. Now taking their ponies and their running irons and maybe a dog or two, and they allows their brand new long-eared calf come within their view. And any old doggy did flop long ears and didn't bush up by day, had his long ears whittled and his old hat sizzled in the most artistic way. Then says Buster Jig to Sandy Bob as he throwed his seagull down, that's a rope. I'm tired of cow pyrography, and I figures I'm a-going to town. So the saddle's up, hits a loper, weren't no side of a ride. And them was the days when an old cow punch could ile up his dry inside. They starts her in a Kentucky bar at the head of Whiskey Row. Winds her up at the depot house some 40 drinks below. Then he sets her up and turns around and he goes the other way. Tell me the Lord forsaken truth, them boys got drunk that day. Well, as they was heading back to camp and packing a mighty good load, who should they meet but the devil himself come prancing down the road. And old devil, he says, you cowboy skunks, you better go hunt your holes, 'cause I've come up from the hell's rim rocks to gather in your souls. Says Buster Jig to the devil, though I know we're tight, no devil ever took an old cow punch without one kind of a fight. So he builds him a hole in his old throw rope. He throws it straight and true. He caught the devil right around the horns and taking his dallies too. Now old Sandy Bob was a Riata man with his gut line coiled up neat. He shakes her out and he builds him a loop, and he caught the devil's hind feet. They throwed him down on the desert ground while the irons is getting hot. Cropped and swallow forked his ears and they branded him up a lot. They pruned him up with a dehorning saw, tied knots in his tail for a dope, rode off and left him bellering there, necked up to a big jack oak. Now if you're ever up in the Siree Peaks and you hear one hell of a wail, you'll know it's nothing but the devil himself for raising hell about the nuts in his tail. Ask me about Alan Dameron in the next set, folks. Gotta really pay our respects to a fine friend, Alan Dameron, who passed away recently. Thanks for coming, and keep strumming, and I'll come on back in a little while, and hope we don't have to start thumbing. Here's my friend Jim Ryder. See you in a little while. Nice to hear that music back there. Yeah. Not drinking bourbon, I'm drinking Irish whiskey. It's Jameson's. Thank you. How do you know she's a Yankee Clipper? Blow, my Billy boys, blow. By the cut of her topsails and her jibs a shiver. Blow, blow, blow. Yankee ship come up the river. Blow, my bully boys, blow. How do you know she's a Yankee Clipper? Blow, blow, blow. By the cut of her topsails and her jibs a shiver. Blow, my bully boys, blow. That's how I know she's a Yankee Clipper. Blow, blow, blow. This is for my friend Don Burkholz, who's here tonight. Worked on that project to rebuild an old 1877 square rigger, bark Elissa, built in Scotland back then. Iron hull, 150 feet between perpendiculars. How do you know she's a Yankee Clipper? Blow, my Billy boys, blow. By the blood and guts that trail behind her. Blow, blow, blow. They were hill ships. Yankee ship come up the river. Blow, my bully boys, blow. How do you know she's a Yankee Clipper? Blow, blow, blow. Yankee ship come up the river. Blow, my bully boys, blow. I know she's a Yankee Clipper. Blow, blow, blow. By the cut of her topsails and her jibs a shiver. Blow, my bully boys, blow. That's Well, I know she's a Yankee Clipper. Blow, blow, blow. Many thanks. I got on a little late on that project of the Alyssa, and she was down there in Galveston, almost finished. The masts were stepped, lower masts, topmasts, and the gallant masts. They're all fitted, and shrouds and backstays were all tight. When I got there, I was sorry to miss out on the fun of doing all that tweaking and twisting. Always late with your kisses. Lefty Frizzell said it. Why, oh, why do you want to treat me this way? Lefty was in the peak of his prime in 1951, selling a lot of records, and I overheard some, but I was hanging out with Woody Guthrie at that time and wasn't that tuned in to the radio. Found out later about it, but I remember hearing the Mommy and Daddy Waltz and all that good stuff by Lefty Frizzell. He's now one of my most favorite singers of all time. Along with Hank Williams. Didn't appreciate Hank Williams at all at that time. And I remember the day that Hank died. I'd never got to see Hank. And it's strange, in New Jersey, they were all up and down the, as I was driving my Model A down to Annapolis, Maryland, trying to get a job working on an oyster dredge boat, Bug-Eye. I just left Woody Guthrie's house up in Brooklyn there, and I was going to get a job working on a Bug-Eye. And it was the first day of January, New Year's Day, 1953. And every time I'd stop to get kerosene in my Model A, mixed with a little gasoline, so it put out that cloud like diesel smoke. And the gas station had said, "You hear the news? Hank Williams died." I'd like to sing a Hank Williams tune. I wish I knew more of them. I've only learned about one. This is the one that I only know all the way through. And it's probably the best known one. It's called Lovesick Blues. Wasn't written by Hank Williams. Written by some other old coot. I got a feeling called the blues, oh Lordy, since my baby said goodbye. I don't know what I'm gonna do. All I do is sit and sigh. Oh Lord, that last long day she said goodbye. Oh Lord, I thought I would cry. She do me, she do you, she got that kind of loving. All I love to hear her when she calls me sweet daddy. Such a beautiful dream. I hate to think it all over. I lost my heart, it seems. I've grown so used to you somehow. Well, I'm nobody's sugar daddy now, and I'm lonesome. I got the lovesick blues. I'm in love with a beautiful gal. That's what's the matter with me. I'm in love with a beautiful gal, but she don't care about me. Well, I tried and I tried to keep her satisfied, but she just wouldn't stay. Now that she's leaving, here is all I have to say. I got a feeling called the blues. Oh Lord, since my baby said goodbye. I don't know what I'm gonna do. All I do is sit inside. Oh Lord, that last long day she said goodbye. Oh Lord, I thought I would cry. She do me, got that kind of loving. Lord, I love to hear her when she calls me sweet daddy. Such a beautiful dream. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I lost my heart, it seems. I've grown so used to you somehow. Well, I'm nobody's sugar daddy now, and I'm lonesome. I got the lovesick blues. Lovesick Blues. Many thank yous, many thank yous. What a time, what a beach, what a dog. I wonder what he would have said now. If you could see the traffic. Beg pardon? Pick up the, well, I believe it, pick up the tab. Oh, yeah. Here's a cowboy song for Michael out there. Michael Malone. You ever heard this one? It's called the Skyball Paint. You know that one? Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't do it. Is it on? I only know 2 verses, Mike, but I'm going to play it for you. Well, the Skyball Paint was the devil's saint, and his eyes was fiery red. Lots of boys tried to ride this horse, but most of them are dead. I ain't one to brag, but I rode this nag till his blood begun to boil. And I turned around at 10 pound of good old Texas soil. Singing why-ho, yippee-tie-ho, up and around down county you go. Sons of the western soil, sons of the western soil. In town one day I happened to stray upon old Colonel Jim. For a hoop and a holler and a counterfeit dollar, I sold this nag to him. When old Jim plants the seat of his pants in Skyball's leather chair, well, I bet 6 bits when Skyball hits that old Jim won't be there. Singing why-ho, yippee-tie-ho, up and around and down you go. Sons of the western soil, sons of the western soil. I'll bet 6 bits when Skyball hits that old Jim won't be there. Not you, Jim. Thank you. I'm sad and I'm lonely. My poor heart will break. My sweetheart loves another. Lord, I wish I was dead. My cheeks once was red as the buds on the rose, but now they are whiter than a lily that grows. Young ladies, take warning, take a warning by me. Never place your affections on a young man's afraid. They'll hug you and kiss you and tell you more lies than the cross ties on the railroad. Clouds in the skies, cars on I-35. I'm sad and I'm lonely. My poor heart will break. My sweetheart loves another. I wish I was dead. My cheeks once as red as the buds on the rose, but now they are whiter than a lily that grows. Old folk song. Darrell Adams taught me that. Darrell Adams. What a guy. I got tired of playing by myself over there in England after about almost a year, and so we sent for Darrell. He come over, and we picked him up at the station, and he looked good. He didn't get seasick. Remember, Darrell didn't like boats. He didn't like the ocean. He got seasick, in the Navy, and he made it over in fine shape on the liner SS United States in one of the biggest storms that they had in 10 years on the Atlantic. And he said, I said, how'd you avoid getting seasick, Darrell? He says, easy, Jack. I just stayed in the bar. So we started singing together in some of those places and pubs in London. And I'm lucky. You're lucky. We're both lucky, honey. Amen. Hey, women. Hey, children. What about the children? What about the dogs? I'm sure glad to meet all you folks. It's every time I come here, it's like the only real thing that happens to me in about a year of traveling around the country, singing to people in various cities and towns. Well, Columbus was good. Yeah, I don't remember too much about it, but I had a good time. I know. lost my voice right after Columbus. Must have had a screaming good time. I played the next 5 shows with no voice at all. And they were good shows. I just didn't dig the laryngitis and all that. And I had to go to a doctor and get steroids. I never had steroids before. I thought, oh, yippee, a new drug. It worked fine. He warned me. He says, I wouldn't give one of my patients this stuff, but you're from out of town, so what the hell? No, he said, that's not what he said. He said, you have to sing, and I know you got to get your voice back, so this is not recommended, but I'm going to give you this prescription for steroids. And what he did, he said, he warned me that the first day you take 12 of these pills. And the second day, you take 11. And the third day, you take 10. And the fourth day, you take 9. And the fifth day, you take 8. And the sixth day, you take 7. And the seventh day, you take 6. That's that. Now you're at the crossover. You're at the midpoint. Sixth day, you take 7. The seventh day, you take 6. See, and as the days get on, you take less and less. But he said, if you ever quit taking them in the middle, you're going to crash, Jack. You're going to crash badly, and I won't be there to help you. Because he was in Connecticut, and I would have been somewhere in Rhode Island by that point. But I had to take those pills, and eventually my voice did come back. But I had to work 3 more gigs, taking the pills and everything, before it kicked in, and it finally did, and I got my voice back on the very last gig of the tour, which was Cambridge, Massachusetts. So it all worked out fine. And I have no noticeable after effects. Any after effects that I might have had couldn't be noticed because they were masked over by all the other after effects of all the other stuff. Yeah. Here's a little lighthearted number that I had in my mother's house in a Wax 78 record in 1945, a band called Louis Jordan and the Timothy Five. And it was the flip side of a thing called Take Me Right Back to the Track, Jack. But this is the flip side of that. It's called Salt Park, West Virginia. McNeil, McNeil, don't steal my automobile. I'll take you to a cafe, buy you a real fine meal. Hey, Mac, we're gonna do some riding. Soon we're gonna come to a dividing. I don't wanna continue cause the sign says Salt Park, West Virginia. That's where my baby lives, and I ain't going no further. Hey, Mac, don't you stop me now. I don't want to commit no murder. McNeil, McNeil, don't steal my wheel. I'll buy you anything on the menu. 'Cause boy, I got to go Salt Park, West Virginia. My automobile, I'll take you to a cafe and buy you a real fine meal. Hey, Mac, we're gonna do some riding. Soon we're gonna come to a dividing. I don't wanna continue cause the sign says Salt Park, West Virginia. got to go. I got to go to Salt Park, West Virginia. Thank you. Hey, Jim, how you feeling? Jim Ryder, are you still here? Arafat? Nasser. Gamal Abdul? Hey, you feel like playing something? Pardon? Yes, sir. Wow, Jim Ryder, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, boy. Jim Ryder, you got your guitar? You want to play mine? Or? Play yours? Yeah, play mine. I'd be honored. Yeah. Thank you. If you're honored, I'd be relieved.
Thanks, Jack. That sounds
good. Over there.
That's nice.
Fixing the strings, I think.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Jack.
This guy here, I met Jim at a little Pete Seeger Hudson River Sloop Festival one year. What was that, 1970 or something?
1979 or so.
Yeah, and he played this wonderful couple of songs that he'd written. And he's been working in the film industry. He was like not too interested in the music industry at that time, so he's been working in movies. In fact, he works in that very popular series that they call Deadwood, yeah. And so you might even see him in Deadwood, walking around in the background. And he just thought he'd like to go get out of Hollywood for a while, change of scene. And so I invited Jim to come along with me on this trip and help drive the truck and occasionally maybe even play a song. Play 2, 3, man. You want me to bring you something up here?
Thank you, Ramblin'. This is one by Jack's other son. Uncle Bob Dylan. I can see the turning of the key. I've been deceived by the clown inside of me. You talked me into playing this song. Thank you. Just the short version. That was the AM version. Thanks, Jack. I've been in a funny mood all day. Here's one that I wrote. Well, yeah, I do miss. It's a nice thank you. It misses us too. We were up at Larry Mahan's horse ranch about 3 days ago, Rodeo King Larry Mahan. And we were driving into town after Larry picked up about 14 gigantic bales of hay on this truck. He did it like it, was no sweat. He did 2 loads of it, and Jack and I were along for the ride. I would have been exhausted just thinking. I was tired out just watching Larry work so hard. But anyway, that's right. And then on the way back to Larry's after all that hard work, we came up down this dusty road, and there was a little black dog, just a skinny little tiny dog that was obviously homeless dog. So we picked it up. Well, after we looked in the rearview mirror and it was chasing after us, so we picked it up. I wonder how that little dog's doing. Oh, good. Now, we had fun up at the horse ranch. There's another rodeo king, works on that Deadwood show, Gary LeFew, champion bull rider, and he calls me No Ridin' Jim Ryder, not to be confused with the Austin, Texas James Ryder, who's got a band around here. Yeah. But anyway, it was a good old dog, kind of nice dog. And Kathy Guthrie was here tonight. She's left the building with, not with Elvis, but her friend Mary Lynn. And anyway, I wrote this song in '78 when I was 19 years old, during my Arthur Rimbaud period. And Arlo Guthrie recorded it in '96. It's called Mystic Journey. Me and a friend roaming around, him a magician and I was a clown, playing on the streets for $1 a day, waiting for the sign to lead the way, crossing the border to a mystical land, sort of unexpected, didn't quite understand, on a razor's edge, on a grain of sand, onward we wandered to the gates of oblivion. On a roll of the dice, we headed out west where the sage and the spice attracted us. But shadows fell down like a dark open hand. I saw the teeth of the wolves and the blood of the lambs. So on a turn of the cards, I lightened my load, throwing off fear for the weakness it holds. On target and calm, the vision was clear, beyond the mirage I took for granted was here. So on a flip of the coins, we rode the coast, just trying to make the most out of every situation that we witnessed near at hand on a drifter's crusade all over the land. It was me and a friend roaming around, him a magician and I was a clown, playing on the streets for $1 a day, just waiting for the sign to lead the way. Could it be in the stars or in the passing of cars, at a table in the bar, in a turn of the cards, in a change of your mind, in the passing of time, in a ribbon of rhyme, or just down the line? Cha-cha-cha. Anyway, thank you. Thanks. So while we were up at Larry's ranch, I thought I'd send a picture to stage a photo for Gary LeFew, this other champ bull rider, because he calls me No Ridin' Jim Ryder. Because I was saying to him, everybody says you're a rodeo champ. I never saw you on a horse before, and there's tons of horses running around on Deadwood. But so we have this little game going. So I posed for a photo. I was riding backwards on a horse. Not riding, just sitting. Anyway, he had to be there. And I was playing my mandolin, and they took a picture. Jack's in the background, and Larry's in the foreground praying. Or it looks like he's broken down. And I captioned it, No Ridin' Jim Ryder with Larry Mahan. Poor Larry is broken down in frustration after trying to teach me how to ride. Had to be there, long story. Anyway, here's one by Uncle Bob. You must leave now, take what you need, you think will last. But whatever you wish to keep, you'd better grab it fast. He understands your orphan with his gun, crying like a fire in the sun. Look out now, the saints are coming through, and it's all over now, baby blue. The highway is for gamblers, you'd better use your sense. Take with you whatever it is you've gathered from coincidence. The empty-handed painter from your streets is drawing crazy patterns on your sheets. And the sky too is folding under you, and it's all over now, baby blue. All your seasick sailors, they're all rowing home. And your reindeer armies, they're all going home. And the lover who just walked out your door taking all his blankets from the floor. And the carpet too is moving under you. It's all over now, baby blue. Baby blue. Leave your stepping stones behind, know there's something that calls for you. Forget the dead you've left, they're not gonna follow you. And the vagabond who's rapping at your door is standing in the clothes that you once wore. Strike another match, go start anew, 'cause it's all over now, baby blue. Baby blue. My baby blue. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Jack. One more. Bring back Ramblin' Jack. That's what you paid to see. That's what I say. I wear a lot of hats on this tour. I sometimes drive and sometimes sell records and sometimes I have to tell people to get out of the dressing room because Jack's got to do the show and stuff like that. And sometimes I get to be a guitar player. And I want to thank Ramblin' Jack for letting me be on the road with him. This has been an incredible world trip. Yes. I think we should bring him back. You've had enough of my song and dance. Come on, Ramblin' Jack. They didn't come here to see me. That's sailor talk. Vote Kinky Friedman for governor. He was a great band leader. Thank you.
That's great, man. Thank you. Wait, you honored my guitar. Oh gosh. We'll talk. Maybe we'll talk to the Martin factory. Get you one of these. I'd love to. They threatened to make a copy of this one. Yeah. I don't know when they're going to get around to doing it though. It's got so many darn details on it. I don't think they can really make a copy of this thing. There's only one of these. But they're going to, like they have those signature models, you know. They got a Joan Baez signature model Martin guitar. They got a Jimmy Rogers one. They got a Bob Dylan one. It's just a lot of, you know, business. And I thought, okay. I was glad they took me on a tour of the factory and they raised the nut for me and lowered the bridge and mailed it back to me. I got a tour of the factory. That was the main thing. I just wanted to see how they make these things. That was the one we've been working on for days and days. The highway is for gamblers. You better use your sense. You have gathered from coincidence. The empty-handed, the empty. That's why we're not doing it together yet, see? I got the cards worked out. The empty-handed purser from your door is painting crazy patterns on your floor, on your seats. The sky too is folding under you. And it's all over now, baby blue. I was one of the first people to hear that song. Me and Johnny Cash and June Carter were driving a car through New York State one time, coming over from Massachusetts, where we were playing a gig up there in Boston. And John wanted to go by Woodstock, New York, and pick up a guitar that he had once loaned to Bob about a year earlier, a Gibson that used to belong to Gene Autry. Real pretty guitar, too. And so we met Bob at this cafe there, the Cafe Espresso, which was owned by a Frenchman named Bernard. And Bob used to have a little typewriter in a bed upstairs where he could hang out there and write songs when he wasn't at the house. And he came down and gave John back the Gene Autry Gibson guitar. And he says, I wrote a couple new songs. Or something to that effect. And so he even like to hear him, you know, so he sat down there in a little cave in the cafe. There was nobody there but Bernard and his wife, Bernard Patouturel. And Bob played this song, It's All Over Now, Baby Blue, and another one called It's All Right, Ma, I'm Only Dying, which I don't know, but I only know very few Bob Dylan songs. I could do one for you. Just close the line, close the door. You don't have to worry anymore. I'll be your baby tonight. Shut the light, shut the shade. You don't have to be afraid. I'll be your baby tonight. That mockingbird's gonna sail away. We're gonna let it. That big round moon's gonna shine like a spoon. We're gonna let it. You won't regret it. Kick your shoes off. Do not fear. Bring that bottle over here. I'll be your baby tonight. That mockingbird's gonna sail away. We're gonna let it. Big round moon's gonna shine like a spoon. We're gonna let it. You won't regret it. Kick your shoes off. Do not fear. Bring that bottle over here. I'll be your baby tonight. That's I'll be your something or other. You leaving? I'm sorry. Hey, sorry, we didn't get together. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming. I'll dig it. We'll get together next time. Hey. Check your AAA map. Darn, this glass has got a hole in the bottom. Anyway. Now here's a sad song, but it's a good song. It just happens to be about a dog. This was my dog Caesar's favorite song. Caesar was my road manager and sometime driver. I didn't always let him drive, like I wouldn't let him drive on a, packed freeway or anything like that. Because if there was a dog in another car, like he would get a little out of shape. But on one trip, we were coming to my first ever engagement in Denver at the club Cafe York, and Alan Dameron was opening for me that night. And we were a little late. I had gone about 400 miles out of my way to take a look at the Badlands of South Dakota. I'm sorry, beg your pardon. And coming down through western Nebraska, I got a little tired. I'd been driving the car for about two and a half days. I figured, well, Caesar's just been, laying around. Caesar, I said, I'm going to the back seat. I'm going to take a nap. You drive. If you see a telephone, wake me. And he said, woof. Which in Husky means okay. Thank you. Bless you, my daughter. Well, I slept for about 2 hours. Caesar saw a telephone. He stopped the car. I heard woof, which means telephone in Husky. Huskies don't bark, they talk, and it's like Chinese. Different intonations of woof. There's about 600 different words that woof means. Oh, Jim. He just wants to drive the truck. It's a really nice Ford F-350 with a Power Stroke V8 turbocharged diesel. And he even remembered to set the handbrake. What a dog. I went in the phone booth. I called the Cafe York in Denver. Had a pocket full of quarters. Keith Case answered the telephone. Good evening, Cafe York. I said, hello, Cafe York. How's everything? Well, everything's fine tonight. We have Rambling Jack. I knew he didn't know me very well because he pronounced my name with a G on the end, like they do in England, rambling. I ain't rambling. I'm rambling. If I had to put a G on there, I'd never get anywhere. It's hard to shift gears with a G on the end of it. He says, tonight we have Ram. I said, yeah, you don't have him yet, man. This is Rambling Jack. I'm calling you. Oh, where are you? I said, I'm in western Nebraska. I'll be there in a few hours. But, Jack, he said, this place is full of people, and they came to hear you sing. What am I going to do? I thought, what a nice man asking me what to do. Anyone else, at a time like that, anyone else would be telling me what to do. What am I going to do? He says, well. I said, do you have a microphone in the office there? Yeah. I said, well, put the microphone next to the telephone. I got a pocket full of quarters. I'm going to play you a set. Okay. So I did, and I played about 8 songs. And I could hear the people clapping in the background. And then I ran out of quarters. And so I said, well, I guess I better hit the road here. Yeah, I'll be there in a few hours. I'll see you. You have an opening act? Yeah, it's Alan Darren. I said, oh, Alan Darren. Oh, great. You're fine, and I'll see you soon. And I got back in the car, and we lit a shuck for Denver. And we got in there about 3 in the morning. The place was closed. Alan and a waitress were sleeping on tables, waiting up for me. And the next night was my first night of the week there, and he let me work an extra night at the end to make up for it. And the following day, Hoyt Axton came to town, and then Jerry Jeff showed up, and then Rosalie Sorrells from Idaho came down, and we had one endless party for about a week there in Denver, and it was so nice. I could have got off to a bad start there, but my dog, I didn't let Caesar drive anymore after that. He was a good driver, but a little too slow. Very careful, though, never hit nothing. As long as there weren't any other dogs, in the passing cars. He drove 12 and a half miles an hour, which is, that's, sled dog speed. I think on the Iditarod, they may go, get up to a speed of like 13 miles an hour at times on a downhill grade. They had a war over in Spain one time. It was in the 30s. A bunch of American guys went over there to help fight, and they were fighting against Generalissimo Francisco Franco. We call the Spanish Civil War. I'm sorry, forgive me. And some great songs came out of that. I only know one of them. I only know it part way through, but it's a beautiful song. And it's called, the title escapes me right now, but I was going to put it out on my next album, and I recorded it already. Except for one verse that I couldn't understand in Spanish. My Spanish is very bad. I have a good accent because I got a good ear, but I forgot a lot of my high school Spanish vocabulary and couldn't understand the second verse that my son-in-law wrote out the words for me in very good, clear print and everything, but it wasn't good enough to record, so we scratched it from the album. It's not going to be in this new album. It may come out on a future album. But I've always loved this song. I always knew one verse of it, and it's from the Spanish Civil War, and it's got this thing in the front at Gandesa. There I was in quarters. In the front at Gandesa, first line of fire. Primero línea de fuego. And it goes like this. En el Frente de Gandesa. Ya me estoy encargando. They're always in quarter. En el Frente de Gandesa, ya me estoy encargando. En el Frente de Gandesa, primero línea de fuego. Lie. Gandesa ya me estoy encaradero. En el Frente de Gandesa ya me estoy encaradero. En el Frente de Gandesa, primero línea de fuego. Si me quieres escribir, if you want to write me a letter, send it to the front in Gandesa, and it gives the address. It's very simple, very stated. But the way them Spanish cats sing, they put a lot of balls into it, and a little bit of blood and a little bit of gunpowder, and it's just exciting. I traveled through Spain on a steam train. It was probably locomotives. It was built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in Philadelphia. But they kept them in much better shape than we ever did. And Model A Fords all over the place, taxis. But that was then, and this is now. Muchacho. Oh, this is the one I played for Larry Mahan's Cowboys down there, up in Sunset, Texas, which is a song I learned from some Mexican singers in a cafe in Paris in 1955. A group called Trio Los Acapulcos. And it was Pedro and Narciso and one other guy named Gomez. And they were from Mexico, except one was from South America, but they all played together. This was a song about Western movies that they sang in Mexican. And it was called Dos Horas de Balazos, 2 hours of bullets. But the chorus goes, the chorus is the names of a lot of Western movie stars that were popular back in those early times. Tom Mix, Buck Jones, Bill Boyd, Tim McCoy. Tim McCoy was the first person I ever saw with a cowboy hat. You saw him? Where did you see him at? On TV. Well, I saw him in a circus tent on Linden Boulevard in Brooklyn, and I was 4 years old. It was in 1935. And he had this big hat, and there were Indians sitting around at the entrance of the circus tent thing selling penny postcards. Buy picture Tim McCoy. Buy picture Tim McCoy. And I thought, wow, gotta get one, Daddy. And he rode around the arena, flying his hat. And I thought, wow, what's that? Had no idea. And later it kind of came clearer to me. So, Mike, did you ever get to meet or see or hear Buck Ramsey? You remember Buck? I got to travel with Buck in his van and help drive him around and push his wheelchair. Buck was a great singer and guitar picker and poet and maker of hackamores and bridles and headstalls and leather stuff and nylon twine knots, you name it. Anything out of the Ashley Book of Knots, he could tie that. And wrote some wonderful poems. And when he passed away, the funeral, I didn't get to go because it was cold in Amarillo, and I was snuggled in California. But 850 people signed a guest book at the mortuary there when Buck had to say goodbye. And I got to go over there later for a wake for Buck and a ceremonial later in the springtime in Amarillo at a club. It's a kind of a trail drivers and old-time cowboy club somewhere north of Amarillo, not far from the very ranch where Buck last had the use of his legs. He got in a wreck chasing a cow where horse went down in a little wash and ended up upside down with Buck still in the saddle, upside down with a horse on top of him. And when they finally found him an hour later, his compadres, he said, "Don't move me, boys. I'm paralyzed." And he was, and he spent the next 25 years in a wheelchair, but he could play the guitar and he could tie knots, and he sang beautifully, and he wrote these great poems, one of which I wish I could recite it for you, but I don't know it by heart. A beautiful poem called Anthem. And at that particular juncture, up at the old Trail Drivers Club in Amarillo, a cowboy poet from there named well, I'll think of his name in an hour or so. I've got a Rolodex in my brain, it goes around. It takes about an hour. Not Andy. Andy was a very close friend of Buck's, and it was, he had initials like CJ or JA or RM. And I love the way this man recites. He had such a very, 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 very far out, obtuse, far out country accent that when he recited poetry, I couldn't understand a single word of it. But it was real. J.B. Allen. And J.B. recited this poem from horseback, facing the crowd, about 200 people, including, of course, Buck's wife, Betty, and his daughter, Amanda, and all his loving friends from around Amarillo and all over Texas. And I was so honored to be there. And they even brought me a horse to ride with the family. And he recited that poem, Anthem, which I can't hardly begin to say a word of it, but J.B. knows it by heart. You ought to get him here sometime, J.B. Allen. And he talks something like this. He'd say things like, this is just a kind of a, if you will, and forgive me, charcoal sketch of J.B.'s way of speaking. He'd say, the gate opened and we came in there and just rolled from the horse and saddle up and got that down flying shower. But down to the ever did no things down. But they got down floor of the fly sky and up and down. Man, fly down to the rainbow room. But no more for the latitudes and the that park meets your wine and up and down the corridors. That's about the way J.B. would recite poetry. And it was just great, I thought I was out there in the corral with him. So J.B. recited the poem, and then we followed a friend of Buck's who played the fiddle really well, and his brother was a world champion steer roper, Tuffy Thompson. And this was his brother, Bubba Thompson, who played fiddle really great. And Bubba had the honor of carrying Buck's ashes in a little bag on horseback, and he started to, when it rode down into that little draw underneath that cliff, he started to open up the bag and drop the ashes out on the ground. in that same region of the Canadian River drainage where Buck used to ride before he got crippled. And he was pouring the ashes out of that bag there and he was riding a young colt, you know, and the colt spooked when he saw them ashes coming out of his own rib cage, as it were, so to speak. Went to bucking. And so Buck went out bucking. And I thought, hey, right on. And there was another person there who wrote a book about this and had Buck and several other cowboy poets in her book. And she's the daughter of Richard Widmark, Ann Widmark. She was there and gave me an autographed copy of her book, which I treasure. Keep in my little library. And this is the song that he sang. Not him, the other guys. This is the Mexican song, Thank You, Jim. And this is the song about the Western movies that the Mexican guys sang in Paris in a little bar called La Polka de Mandibule, which means the dance of the jawbones. They had a lot of cheap wine that came from upstairs through rubber hoses down to your table. You could just spigot, you know, you could pour it off, whatever you want. You know, they didn't charge for that. In las that's wrong key. En las áridas regiones de la América del Norte. La policías y ladrones, Tom Mix, Boot Jones, Billy Boy, de Tim McCoy. Habían robado la hacienda del papá de la muchacha. La 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 mala racha, bad thing. La 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 da 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 da. Don't mix book Johnny's a Bill Boy, the Tim McCoy. That's all I know about that one. Yeah, that song is big. You got the idea. I'm sorry that Slade isn't here tonight. I didn't call him and invite him. I thought maybe he would see the ad, but maybe he's out of town, or I hope he's feeling okay. I was hoping to see my friend Slade, who used to be out there at Maynard Downs back when my manager, Chesley Milliken, was out at Maynard Downs. He was the general manager of the racetrack there, largest quarter horse track in Texas. We dropped by there briefly, but didn't see anybody I knew, and we were in a hurry to get back into the traffic jam. That was yesterday? Was that yesterday? That was only yesterday, Jim. You left me and you went away. Said you'd be back in just a day. You said that you left me and always would be mine. But now you have left me with worries on my mind. I'm walking the floor over you. Can't sleep a wink, that is true. Hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two. Walking the floor over you. Now, darling, you know I love you well. Love you more than truth can ever tell. You said that you loved me and always would be mine, but now you have left me with troubles on my mind. Walking the floor over you, can't sleep a wink, that is true. Hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two, and I'm walking the floor over you. Now, someday you're gonna be lonesome too. Walking the floor is good for you. Just keep right on walking and it won't hurt you to cry. Know that I'll love you, dear, and I will the day I die. I'm walking the floor over you. Can't sleep a wink, that's true. Hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two, and I'm walking the floor over you. Yes, and I'll be walking the floor over y'all till I get back to my little old box stall in California. I'm going to have to move to Texas. Thank you for coming, folks. Lovely to see you and meet you all. And had a good time. I won't. Fairly, sincerely, right on. Yes, sir. Okay. I couldn't hear you, sorry. Okay. It's all right. It's all right. Don't think twice. It's all right. Ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe. Even you don't know by now. And it ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe. It'll never do. Somehow. When your rooster crows at the break of dawn, look out your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason I'm traveling on. But don't think twice, it's all right. And it ain't no use in calling up my name, gal, like you never done before. Ain't no use in calling up my name, gal, 'cause I can't hear you. The light I never know. Ain't no use in turning on your light, babe, 'cause I'm on the dark side of the road. Still I wish there was something you would do or say to try and make me change my mind and stay. We never did too much talking. We never did too much talking. Anyway, but don't think twice. It's all right. Hey. So long, honey, babe. Where I'm bound, I can't tell. Goodbye is too good a word, babe, so I'll just say fare thee well. I ain't saying you treated me unkind. You could have done better, but I don't mind. You just kind of wasted my precious time, but don't think twice. It's all right. All right. Thank you very, very much. Love you all. Just keeps getting better and better. Thanks for having me and Jim. And drive careful. Watch out for all that traffic out there.